it's like a mix of Predator and Mad Max, but written by John Steinbeck. So, because those are all influences of mine, and there's a whole, like, everything from an alien conspiracy to horror to thriller or whatever. But I think the guy who influences me the most as far as writing style is John Steinbeck. I did kind of a H.P. Lovecraft, like a first-person narrative for most of the thing, and it's a guy, he's, you know, kind of like a quirky misfit working for the government, and he stumbles across a discovery. It's like it's a weird alien discovery that the government's trying to hide, and he eventually gets fired, and he decides to go back and steal it from them, and it ends up being way more of a bloody coup than he thought it would be, and it's a total disaster, and he flees into upstate, and then the whole government falls apart, and it just, things get worse from there. Too long. It took me about 5 years. The problem is, I started writing it, and well, actually, I had the idea since I was a kid. I just keep changing it because I was like, I have the story I want to tell, and so I finally decided. I was going to do a comic book. I interviewed with DC Comics a couple times. They wanted me to do superheroes. They didn't have any job for me, they said, unless I did like Superman. So I didn't want to do that. So I decided to do it as a novel, and then I decided to do it as an illustrated novel. To me, that was kind of the best of both worlds. And I started writing it, and I was living in Brooklyn, but I was commuting to a tattoo shop in White Plains. So I'd write it on the train on the way there, and on a notebook, on, you know, paper-bound notebook. And after a while, I'm like, I need a computer. So I bought a cheap computer off of eBay for like 300 bucks, and of course, like 6 months later, it crashed on me. So I had to rewrite the whole novel, and I bought a better laptop this time, and I was almost done, well, probably about 2/3 of the way done with it when that laptop got stolen from the shop I was working at. Somebody broke in the shop, just stole the computer and left. So, and by that point I had some of it backed up, but I hadn't backed it up in a long time, so I had to go back and rewrite. So in other words, it was kind of like a up and down battle, but I finally got it done. I got it done about 1.5 years ago. I heard a pro editor, Carl Monger. He's an editor here in Austin. He specializes in like horror and sci-fi and stuff like that. And I was really happy with the job he did. And then I started shopping around. Wade Simmons, who writes zombie horror novels, who kind of helped me out a lot and got me started in this industry, said, you got to go to this. So I went there, and it's all like kind of book publishers and, you know, and filmmakers and, you know, industry stuff like that. It's not really a horror convention for the fans as much as people that are in the industry or want to get in the industry. And right next to me was something called Deadeye Press, and they're based out of Portland, Oregon, and they had a lot of cool stuff. You know, Brian Keene's an author, Peter Anthony's, a bunch of like big names are authors. And I started talking to them, and they loved my artwork. And they said, we want to use your artwork on, you know, some of our books. I said, oh, great. And then I didn't hear from them for like, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months. And then out of the blue, they got a hold of me and they said, by the way, Piers Anthony is coming out with a novel through us. We'd love to use your artwork on the cover. And I was like, fuck yeah. One thing about the book, and one thing I ran into, you know, quite a bit, is I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I kind of did kind of like a throwback 70s style cover, you know, with the like the novels that inspired me growing up, you know. They had like the weird funky lettering blending into the background, and like all the interior illustrations. And I don't think there are enough illustrated books these days, you know. So like I was doing all the interior, I have 11 interior illustrations, and I was doing all of these, and I just had this vision of how I wanted the whole thing to look. You know, kind of have that feel of like a 70s book, but, you know, more updated in style and writing and so on. And it took a little bit of convincing, because a lot of people don't really want to do that. They wanted to put like a big silver, you know, lettering cover over top, and then put your name in big letters, and, you know, they said, well, that's what, you know, sells in the market right now. I said, no, I have faith. You know, I think if people like it, they'll buy it, you know.